Hi, my name is Maciej and I have the pleasure to test the Joue, innovative controller which is based on RFID technology, which stands for Radio Frequency Identification, that uses electromagnetic fields to automatically identify the track tags attached to objects. The Joue board contains magnets and RFID readers, while the modules contain metallic particles and RFID tags. The magnets and metal make the modules fit and stay perfectly on the board, while the RFID tags and readers allow the modules to be detected by the device. They can be programmed in easy way, they can also memorize the settings, and as you can see, they are made out of very high quality silicon. This silicon is very flexible, very pleasant to touch, but first of all it is very sensitive. The tests have been carried out submitting the units to few millions of keystrokes, bends, slides, etc. Supposedly it can withstand that without showing any signs of wear and tear, which is really interesting. In the present moment, there are 8 such modules available. Most of them are delivered together with the controller, others can be purchased separately. Basically, the prices of these pads starts from around several euros, so it all looks really promising. When we place such a silicon pad, or module if you like, we can see that there is some magnetic action going on. This is because we have magnetized surface on the board. We can check that by placing any piece of metal, like this little wire for wrapping the USB cable, and it gets attracted to the board. The same happens on the back side of the main board. The board itself is made out of solid piece of wood, so it will be nice to place this device just on your laps. I just imagine myself laying on hammock in a hot summer day and playing with it. It is very pleasant, beautifully designed and fabricated. Its weight is less than 1 kilogram and the whole unit looks just brilliantly. Before I show you how to create a nice piece of music in new school hip-hop or trap style, of course using all these magic modules, let me tell you first just a few words about each of them. Let's start from the biggest module. This one is called Scalar. It features 17 keys and is perfectly suitable for playing various instruments, both synthesizer type but also all kind of idophones, emulations, harps, xylophones, vibraphones and others. On the top there are additional sensors, like the bubble in the corner here. 3-dimensional one, allowing to control 3 parameters simultaneously, as well as this very long ribbon. They all give really great controlling possibilities. We also have the dedicated octave switches here and 2 freely assignable buttons. Second magic module is called the Synth, and it really looks kind of familiar. This is simply the around octave and a half keyboard with 4 assignable buttons on the top. For example, I have configured them to control the transport. And of course there are 2 dedicated octave switches. This is a very universal module, very nice to play with, it also reacts to aftertouch and vibrato. This will be shown later. Next modular element, the drum type pads. This module is called pads. There are 16 touch-sensitive pads, but also sensitive to pressure, force and bending. Pads can be used for finger drumming or to create melodies or to play back the clips. They can be programmed in groups with possibility to assign any MIDI channel to them, or we can assign different note value to each such small pad or different MIDI channel. Another very interesting item. This is silicon guitar type fretboard. It can be used for playing emulations of guitars, old plugged, ethnic type instruments, basses and similar. It features 6 strings and these strings can be programmed together or we can tune the strings separately. These are very nice thick strings and we can bend or deform them to quite significant degree in terms of guitar string bending techniques. Of course, we also have octave switches here as well and 2 assignable buttons. But except of all those magical modules basically used to play various musical instruments, we also have the modules intended for controlling different parameters. Let's start from this one. It is called Aria, as simple as that. The name Aria is used because this is not just straightforward XY pad type device. Apart of mentioned XY parameters, we also have here the Z axis. Therefore, we deal with pressure sensitivity action, so we can have immediate access to 3 parameters and altogether we can place up to 3 such Aria modules side by side on our main board. Some time ago, Korg company introduced Chaos pads, effect processor series, where the effects were controlled by means of such XY pad, and I was a huge fan of these devices. It is very nice to operate filters or tweak spatial effects using such XY controllers. Another module is called Rounds. Here we just move our finger in circular movement around the circles to control any defined parameter. On these circles we can find special tactile protruding elements to easily find the minimum, middle and maximum values. They can be used in any layout, they can work as closed controllers or endless type controllers in relative mode, so this is really very useful. Next items is called the strips. There are 4 virtual sliders which can operate in vertical or horizontal mode. In the middle of each strip, we have the limited tactile areas to easily access middle value. There are also separate touch fields to which we can assign the specific values. By default, there are the minimum and maximum values of a given parameter. And on the end, the last but not least, the most amazing thing, the bubble. For me, absolutely the most awesome module. Probably I would immediately purchase 2 additional modules like that. We can control up to 12 different parameters with it. We have X, Y axles here, and it reacts to pressure force as well. It is very sensitive, you can use it a bit like a potentiometer knob. You can also control it by such finger movements. And of course, we have 4 dedicated assignable buttons here as well. So this is a really incredible item to play with. Joue is a versatile controller. It will work with your PC, it will work on Mac, it will work with any computer program. If you want to use it to control any external device by means of your computer, all you have to do is buy any Midi interface for several euros or so. I know that manufacturer has already developed some kind of USB Midi converter. It is called Reconnect. There are no information about that on manufacturer's website for now, but hopefully in the moment you are watching this, such information is already available. Furthermore, Joue is compatible with quite new standard that is called multidimensional polyphonic expression, which has been officially accepted this year by Midi Manufacturers Association. Briefly, every note a musician plays can be articulated individually for much greater expressiveness. Each note is assigned its own Midi channel, so that channel-wide expression messages can be applied to each note individually. What is also very important, Joue is a plug-and-play type controller, so all we have to do is connect it to a computer, install the software editor, place selected module, which is immediately recognized, and we all set and ready to play. And this is not relevant if we place the module this way or upside down, or if we rotate it, or we place it here just like that with another twist. Please look closer and see that it is really hard to move it sideways out of its slot. So now, for example, I will move my finger from side to side so we can see that even water in my glass is all floating, while my magical module stays firmly in place, practically without any movements. So now, as you can see, the messages are sent on channel 1 from C1 note. I will try to record something now. Let's check what I have recorded. Maybe I should quantize a bit this performance. So there we go, we have some kind of drums, very simple, yet I think they sound quite fine to start with. And now, on second channel, I would like to record some kind of other sounds or sound effects like that. Okay, and what if I wanted to use the second module for that? Look how easy and simple it is. I just can program it to send relevant messages on other Midi channel. So I place the second module over here. As you can see, I have factory presets available here. By default they are locked, so we can always come back to these presets when necessary. And over here we can create our own, any iterations. So I will perform a duplication now, and I will name this copy as my drums channel 2. I change the channel here, and now I just have to flash this module. What does that mean? I just need to drag these settings to this window here, just like that, and that's all. So now, when I arm these 2 tracks for recording here, then one module allows me to play drums on channel 1, and other one to trigger those great samples on channel 2. So now I will try to record something using that second module. Maybe this is not any spectacular recording, but well, we have what we have. Maybe the first attempt was a bit better, so let's check it. Okay. Fine, so now I would like to record for such program drums, maybe some chords. So I'm getting ready and start in a moment. I wait for the right moment and maybe different chords. Looks like it's ready. We have our chords. Using the keyboard, I will quickly record the bassline now. Done. Now it's time to look closer how the controllers work. Therefore, let's check it out. To start with, I select this one. Let's go to the program. As you can see, I have assigned this controller to send the CC2 messages on channel 9 in relative mode, the multiplier only times 2, so I will have to make a few rotations to change the parameter fully in 14-bit mode, thus conformable with Ableton Live software. Please notice that now, when we will be listening to the drums, maybe let's just listen to the drums with the bass. You will see that I will be controlling the frequency of the filter. Just check it out. I can also relocate the rounds module, and always the circle in the bottom right corner will allow me to control the filter. I would like to point out here that it is possible to exchange these elements while playing live. Just watch what I am doing. Another very useful tool to try is the pad. Let's see how it can work. I have programmed the filter on master channel here, and now this filter acts in such a way that... Oh, wait a minute, I still need to assign these parameters. Yeah, I just had an idea, but I have not managed to realize it yet. So now, all we have to do is just move the finger this way or that way and, for example, set the pressure parameter to control here. As you can see, these parameters are changing quite fast here. So this is why the manufacturer provided one cool feature for us to use, which I will show you in a moment. Let's check how it will work now. Let's listen to it together with our chords. One more time. Let's move to master channel. There we go. Now we can see what's going on here. However, one of the most interesting modules is the scaler. Let me try to demonstrate it to you using some other instrument. It is great because we have huge selection of scales here. Of course, we choose the channel on which the information is sent, the lowest note, and obviously we also have the octave up, octave down buttons. So next we choose the scale here. There are not only modal scales available here, but also all kinds of variations. We have pentatonic scales, blues scales, etc. I have selected the blues scale. The vertical Y movement allows us to control or send separate message, and this is a good tip to be aware of. Let's check it out on the example of these bells. And let's listen to the whole thing. Manufacturer has also provided for us other great features, making our life easier with regard to the programming in X, Y, and Z axles. It equally applies to the Bubbles controller, as well to this controller, and that one too. Let's move to the editor. I disconnect the controller from Ableton Live for now. and I switch onto the software to monitor the MIDI messages. It is called Midi. So as you can see, these messages are already being sent, but now in the editor I can, for example, restrict just for this path to send messages to X axle. And now see what will happen. Regardless of what I will be doing here, if I press it harder or not, only the modulation changes are being sent. In this moment, I will send the messages assigned to Y axle, regardless of direction I move my finger on the pad. And now only the messages related with pressure falls will be sent. As you can see, it all works very efficiently. Of course, the same applies to bubbles, but we need to select this module over here from that list. So maybe I will add this to my presets. Bubble, here we go. And now again, let the bubbles send the messages of Y type. And now, as you can see, we only have the modulation here. Now it will be only breath controller. Such one was actually assigned here. And Z is the pressure, so it is different message. You will find all those mentioned messages on that list, MIDI mapping, so they can be switched on and off here. And as you can see now, bubbles send continuous messages on channel 6, the first, second, and third, and in full scale. Over here, the direction is natural, but we can also reverse the direction. This would mean that we could decrease the values. It really works great. As I have mentioned before, Joue cooperates with the system called MPE, that stands for Multidimensional Polyphonic Expression. To explain it shortly, this is all about the possibility of expression with reference to individual notes, which means that polyphonically we can have various parameters for different notes, and to find out more how it works in detail, you can read about it on the website of Midi.org. That association has accepted the standard as MIDI compatible, and its specification is described in detail there. Briefly, wherever it is possible, we can temporarily assign the MIDI channel to each note. And we also have two additional parameters, or two messages, which control the sharing of such MIDI message between so-called zones. Of course, when we play really a lot of sounds simultaneously, or we heavily use the sustain pedal, it would not always be possible to assign different channels to each note. So for example, two notes can share the same MIDI channel, but in principle, the point is that each note shall have separate parameters on a separate channel, of course except for such general messages as pitch bend or program change messages. Talking about the DAWs, at the present moment, Joue works with the following software. Bitwig on 8 tracks, this program is actually included to Joue package, as well as it would work with such popular DAWs like GarageBand, Logic Pro X, Reaper, Steinberg Cubase, Traction Waveform. There are also the whole bunch of synthesizers which are prepared for operation in that new MPE standard. There are also more and more mobile applications available because Joue works really great with such applications as Animoog or Seaboard 5D. There are also some hardware synthesizers ready for use with Joue, and in case of other DAWs, we can use these functions to some extent, but they are not natively built in. To summarize, I think that in principle, this is the product intended both for the beginners and advanced users who already have some experience. Why? Well, if you have just one MIDI keyboard and start to think, well, maybe I should buy some kind of pads or XY controller or something else, look no further. Here you have everything in one package. You have all kinds of controllers and even more. They are very light, very small, and you can practically take them with you everywhere you go. So this is something really worth to consider. From the other side, if you already have some experience and you need something that would be portable, mobile, just take it with you and travel to any place without a hassle. All these magic modules can be programmed just to send specific messages on defined MIDI channels, so you don't have to dig into the program. You can easily program everything to be sent on selected MIDI channel. You place chosen module on the board, play on one instrument, then you can program your drums. You just change the overlaying modules and you don't have to reach to the computer program. This is really awesome. Very convenient, and also the unit is beautifully designed and manufactured.